Do you want to sit down or do you want to stand up?
No, I'd like this gentleman to remain seated.
Name and address for the minute taker, please.
Yes, I am Bradford Hutchinson, Elm Street in Keene, New Hampshire.
Okay.
And I was hoping to get through the whole meeting without having to ask a question or a comment, and until this issue, here, I have to. I've been listening very, very carefully so far. The question I have has not been answered based on what I've heard from the individuals. This question has been rather delicately avoided being addressed at all. And we've heard a lot of information. I'm still in the middle of doing my research online about this issue. I am not a Time Warner customer. I gave up Time Warner years ago in disgust over their very, very, very poor customer service and their poor overall service in Keene, but I'm not here as personally with my personal issue on this. I'm familiar with this all around the country. These types of little maneuvers on Time Warner's part, and again, I'm speaking of Time Warner corporate, and much less so on the local franchise, of which I'm not fully informed of all the details of the contract with the council, the committee and the council, and not as much as Attorney Mullins and the city manager are far more informed about the details of that. This is not what I'm talking about. The reality is, and if the Mr. Edgecombe,
Yes, sir.
okay, it's not Hedgecombe, it's Edgecombe.
Edgecombe, E-D-G-E.
Okay, C-O-M-B?
Yes, sir.
E-D-G-E-C-O-M-B?
Right.
Okay, yeah, I can get your card later if I need it. I don't think that I will. So this is coming from Time Warner Corporate, and Mr. Edgecombe is down from Maine, and we appreciate him being here. This is something that's happening all over the country. Time Warner is losing customers by the thousands. There are many reasons for that. Changes in technology, dissatisfaction with service, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this process is occurring in Keene. There's also issues with Time Warner nationally surrounding the public access channels, for a variety of reasons. And I am here 100% in support of Cheshire TV. I'm here in support particularly of many people rely on Cheshire TV to view the council meetings, to view community activities which Cheshire TV makes available to people. And going around mostly downtown Keene, talking to a lot of people, I hear a lot of comments. There are many, many unhappy people in Keene, particularly the elderly, particularly fixed income, particularly people who can't get out as much, old-fashioned, shall we say, aren't familiar with all the new technologies and bells and whistles. To get to the question, which seems to have been skirted around tonight and avoided, I understand that FCC regulations, the contract, allows Time Warner to migrate, as they put it, their euphemism, I call it a weasel word, to migrate from analog to digital in their signals. And the FCC and the contract allow this. And so I'm not making an accusation that they're violating any contract. What I don't see and don't hear, and the question that I want to have addressed and answered tonight in very clear terms, is there any technological reason which compels them to abandon the analog signal? Is there any technological or regulatory reason which compels them to have only the digital signal? And isn't it a fact that Time Warner does not have to abandon the analog signal? Time Warner could right now still be providing the analog signal to all of their analog customers, just like they've always done, but Time Warner Cable has taken it upon themselves to take away their analog signal from those people who still receive the analog signal. This isn't something that has to be done. This is something that Time Warner Cable, again corporate, is imposing down through the chain of command, so to speak. They're taking away this to create some reason that they can then impose charges and fees. They say that they're giving a box away free. The people who most need it free are the ones least able to use it free, the ones that most need to pay $39.95 to have someone come out and install it, which is problematic for them. So this is imposing an additional hardship on persons that should not have a hardship imposed upon them, the very part of the customer base that most needs the service, Time Warner is taking away from them. In other words, Time Warner Corporate is being a very, very, very bad neighbor in this regard. And why can't Time Warner just push a few buttons and throw a few switches and let the people who have been receiving the analog signal all along continue to receive the analog signal and at the same time go to digital? The equipment is still there. And I hope that my question was understood. There's no reason this has to happen. Turn on the analog signal and keep the old folks happy. That's what I'm saying. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to point out, it's nationwide, it's every carrier that's doing anything has to go to digital, it's not just simply Time Warner, and everyone has to go across the nation. Kind of makes me think of, we used to listen to albums, then tapes, CDs, and now you can put every song you know on, it's not that big, so. Is there a reason for?
I could speak to it all night, which I'm sure, it's not, you won't